Good morning dear students, myself Sachin S. Pawar and I welcome you to my 7th video on Unit 1 Solid States for PU2 Chemistry students. In this video, we will continue our discussion on solids where we shall continue and will learn today defects in solids. So let's begin our today's session, defects in solids. Now when I say defect you mean, when I say defect means going away from an ideal arrangement. So when I say an ideal arrangement, the crystal, if I take a solid in the crystal structure, if there is a perfect orderly arrangement of particles, then I will call it as a crystal, the perfect crystal. I'll call it as a perfect crystal. So perfect crystal is the one where there is a perfect orderly arrangement of particles. Particles may be atoms, ions or molecules. If that perfectness is lost by somehow, then we call that crystal to possess certain imperfections or certain defects, and that we shall see in today's video. Let's begin. Okay, so when I go for a perfect, when I go for creating a perfect or an ideal crystal, when I want to prepare an ideal crystal, you will find that ideal crystal is possible to be to prepare. If you want to prepare an ideal crystal, then at absolute zero temperature only it is possible to have a perfect orderly arrangement of particles leading to a perfect crystal, or I'll call it as an ideal crystal. And this ideality, that is the perfect arrangement of particles, can be disturbed if you form those crystals at a temperature bit higher than that, and the process of formation of the crystal, if you do it at a faster rate or at a moderate rate. So here at high temperature, other than absolute temperature, you see some irregularities in the arrangement of particles, and that is called defect in solids. These irregularities are actually happening because the crystallization process which is happening during the crystallization, if the crystallization process is carried out at a high speed or at a moderate speed, then during that crystallization some imperfections are created, and that imperfections lead to what we know as defects in solids. And such imperfections are usually, we have to categorize into three main types, and those three main types of imperfections or defects are point defect, line defect and impurity defect. In our PU second year syllabus, we will be seeing both these point defects and impurity defect together. Okay, so let's continue point defects. What do you mean by point defect? Point, word to word meaning point means lattice point. If the arrangement of particle is going away from the ideal behavior, deviating from the ideal behavior at certain lattice point means at certain atoms or ions or molecules, there is some disturbance, there is some deviation from perfect arrangement, then I will call it as point defect. Line defect, if the entire row of lattice points, the entire row of atoms, ions, molecules, particles, if there is a deviation from the ideal arrangement in that entire row, then we call it as line defect. And impurity defect means some impurity in the entire crystal. Some other unwanted foreign substance comes. The foreign substance means the particles which are not of that particular solid, they are from somewhere else. In that case, we call it as impurity defect. So here we have got the point defects, line defects and impurity defects. Let's go into the point defects now, and the complete classification of point defect is on your screen. You see, point defects are again two types: stoichiometric defect and non-stoichiometric defects. Stoichiometry defects are again further classified here, and the non-stoichiometry defects are further classified here, as you can see on your screen. In today's video, we shall only see stoichiometric defects. Non-stoichiometric defects we shall see in the next class. So let's move ahead. What do you mean by stoichiometric defect? First of all, you should understand the meaning of stoichiometry. What do you mean by stoichiometry? That you have learnt in PUC first year unit number 1. I'll explain you with one example the meaning of stoichiometry, and then we shall see what is stoichiometry defect and what is non-stoichiometric defect. Stoichiometry. Take one example of an ionic crystal, say sodium chloride. Sodium chloride. If I take sodium chloride is Na plus and Cl minus ions. Okay. If you take sodium chloride, say for example, let me write here. Okay. What is stoichiometry? I will explain. Okay, suppose I have a sodium chloride crystal, formula is NaCl. So here NaCl is having Na plus and Cl minus ion, and the ratio is 1:1. So the stoichiometry of sodium chloride is having Na plus and Cl minus ion in the ratio 1:1. I can give you one more example. Glucose is C6H12O6. So if you see stoichiometry of this, carbon, hydrogen and oxygen, they are present 6, 12 and 6, that is 1:2:1. so this is the stoichiometry. So stoichiometry of glucose is every glucose molecule will have carbon, hydrogen and oxygen in the ratio 1:2:1, like this. This is called stoichiometry. Okay, so stoichiometric defect means what? And stoichiometric, so what is stoichiometric defect? If I ask, then stoichiometric defect is the one where the defect will arise, but this, what stoichiometry I have explained, should not disturb. The ratio of the particles in that solid should retain, should not get affected. If it is happening that, then we call it as stoichiometric defect. And the defect, if the defect leads to disturbance in the stoichiometry, that ratio of ions, the ratio of the atoms is not maintained, then we call it as non-stoichiometric defect. So here we are going for stoichiometric defects. Stoichiometric defects are those where they do not disturb the stoichiometry. I hope you understood the meaning of stoichiometry means what. They are also referred to as intrinsic defects or thermodynamic defects. Stoichiometric defects are also called as intrinsic defects or thermodynamic defects. Now these defects are again of two kinds. What kind of topic, what kind of crystal I am talking about, that is very important. If I am going for a non-ionic solid, then for a non-ionic solid, these stoichiometric defects are vacancy defect and interstitial defect. If you take a ionic solid, the vacancy defect becomes a Schottky defect and interstitial defect becomes a Frenkel defect. The meaning is same. There is no much change in the meaning here. Okay. So vacancy defect and Frenkel defect. Vacancy defect is Schottky defect and interstitial defect is a Frenkel defect when I am doing a transition from non-ionic solids to ionic solids. Okay, so let's continue and understand these defects. One very important thing to be noted is in ionic solids, when I go for, if I want to maintain the stoichiometry, then I need to maintain the electrical neutrality. That is, for example, I have a sodium chloride crystal, then sodium chloride crystal is having Na plus and Cl minus ions. Ratio is 1:1, 1 Na plus ion, 1 Cl minus ion. So that ratio, if it is maintained, then number of cations is equal to number of anions. Number of cations is equal to number of anions. So positive charge and the negative charge balance and will get electrical neutrality. That is a requirement, and that requirement is found out by two persons, namely Schottky and Frenkel, and these vacancy defect and the interstitial defect, they are modified by modified names are Schottky defect and Frenkel defect for ionic solids. Why it is modified? Because the name, those scientists have discovered this, and you see a German scientist Schottky discovered this defect in 1930 for ionic solids. It's a vacancy defect in ionic solids. And Russian scientist Frenkel, who discovered in 1926 interstitial defect for ionic solids. Okay, let's go on understanding this vacancy and interstitial. What is the meaning of vacancy? Vacancy means a gap, a place which is available for occupancy, and interstitial means in between space. So there are places, in between those places we have got some empty space. We have used a word, a separate a word for that, voids we have used, a word void we have used. So interstitial defect and vacancy defect, the name itself will tell you. For this understanding, I have a diagram for you. This is a diagram of vacancy defect, this is a diagram of interstitial defect. The moment you see the diagram, in vacancy defect you see what is happening. Some particles from the lattice point, the brown colored particles from the lattice points have left the position, and they have created vacancies. Whereas in interstitial defect, if you just see, few more particles have come in the in between space, and that in between space is known as interstitial space. So the diagram is very much clear to understand what is a vacancy defect and interstitial defect. In vacancy defect, some particles completely leave their lattice point and they leave the crystal, whereas in interstitial defect, some more particles are getting occupied into the interstitial space. So here the definition: a vacancy defect is the one where the lattice sites are vacant, and interstitial defect is the one where some additional particles occupy the vacant interstitial positions. Okay, because of this, okay, now this, you see here, because of this what is happening, the empty space is created in the vacancy defect, and that empty space in the vacancy defect makes the difference in the value of density. Density is mass per unit volume. So the empty space is created means mass per unit volume in this particular area is decreased, because that mass is not there, it has left, the mass is already left, and it has created only empty space. So the density of the solid should decrease if there is a vacancy defect. So during vacancy defect, the density should decrease. On the other hand, in interstitial defect, the particles are arranged, the more particles are coming in the interstitial side. That means in this particular area the mass has increased. That means mass per unit volume is increased. That means density should increase. Interstitial defect will increase, the interstitial defect will increase the density of the solids. Okay, next. Ionic solid. Now these vacancy defect and interstitial defect, let us explain it for ionic solids now. Ionic solids. In ionic solids, the vacancy defect in non-ionic solid becomes a Schottky's defect, and interstitial defect in non-ionic solid becomes a Frenkel defect. Now let's see the diagram of this. The diagram. This is the ideal diagram of Schottky's defect and Frenkel defect. Just see what is the difference. Here you see what is happening. We have taken a example of a ionic solid which is having cation A plus and anion B minus. So the ratio need to be maintained, means ratio A plus and B minus. A plus and B minus should be in the 1:1 ratio. So here you see ratio is maintained. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 A plus ions are there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 B minus ions are there. So the ratio is maintained. Therefore, it is a stoichiometric defect. First thing. What is happening here? You see one cation A plus and one anion A minus, B minus is missing from their lattice point, and it is creating the vacancies there. So it is a vacancy defect. In Frenkel defect, again you check the number of cations. A plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'll check once again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 A plus ions. B minus ions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 B minus ions. So it is also a stoichiometric defect only. Electrical neutrality is maintained. The ratio is maintained. What is happening in the Frankel defect? This site is a cation site and it is missing. It is a vacancy. And that cation is going into the interstitial site here. It is going into the interstitial site. So in this defect, a cation it leaves its space and goes and occupies in the interstitial space. It goes into the interstitial space. It goes into the in-between space. So if you have understood this diagram, the definition is, in Schottky's defect, equal number of cations and anions should be missing from their normal lattice points. Equal number of cations and anions should be missing from their lattice points. Then we have Schottky defect. And in Frankel defect, ions, usually cations, they are missing from their normal lattice point and go to the interstitial space. Okay, so I think Schottky's defect and Frankel defect is understood. Again, as far as Schottky defect is concerned, lattice sites are unoccupied. Lattice sites are unoccupied. That is, those are called as lattice vacancies or lattice holes. And in Frankel defect, cation is leaving its site and going to the interstitial place. That means it is dislocated from its original place to the in-between space. Therefore, it is also called as dislocation defect. Frankel defect, also called as dislocation defect. Okay. Regarding density, as I have already explained in the vacancy defect, it is like vacancy defect only. Empty space is created. Mass per unit volume in this area is going to decrease because of this empty space. That means density should decrease by Schottky defect. In Frankel defect, the number of particles are not changed. The mass is not changed per unit volume. So density remains unaffected. Density remains unaffected in case of Frankel defect. So this is Schottky defect and Frankel defect. Okay. In Schottky defect and Frankel defect, if you see the diagrams clearly, there are vacancies. The lattice points have a misplacement. The lattice points have lost the particles. At certain lattice point in both the effects, at certain lattice points, those lattice points are empty. The particles are not there. That means there will be definitely stability decrease in stability of the crystal, and also since the lattice points are empty, the lattice energy also will decrease. So lattice energy and stability of the crystal will decrease because of these two defects. Because of these two defects. So because of these two defects, density changes. Schottky defect will change the density. Frankel defect do not change density. Schottky defect and Frankel defect both will decrease stability and also decrease the lattice energy. What about electrical conductivity? If you see electrical conductivity, yes, lattice sites are there. Now those lattice sites are there. So the moment you pass electricity, the particles which are present in the neighborhood of the neighbors of that vacancy hole, okay, the neighborhood of that vacancy hole, those particles are there. So if the energy is supplied to it, if the energy is supplied, those particles which are there in the neighbor, they will get more energy and they start vibrating more. And when they are vibrating more, they can slip away from their site and go to this interstitial space. So this particle may gain energy and it may jump to this side. It may jump to this side. So because of that movement, the vacancy, the holes are moving. Holes are moving. The particles are moving from one place to the other place, leaving behind the new hole. Leaving behind the new hole. So this migration will make the particles to conduct electricity, and you will see there is an increase in conductivity because of both these defects. Next, condition for Schottky defect and Frankel defect. Condition. condition for Schottky defect and Frenkel defect. What is the condition? See, equal number of cations and anions are missing from the lattice points. Means here this effect is observed to occur in those compounds where those ionic compounds in which the size of the cations and anions is almost same. So almost same size of cation and anion should be there. And a compound must have high coordination number. Coordination number means the nearest neighbors should be more in number. If neighbors are more in number, then when the cation and anion leaves that site, leaves its lattice point, since the coordination number is more, the particles are very crowded. The in between space, we call it as interstitial space, will be very small, so that particle cannot fit into that. Therefore it has no choice that if it leaves its lattice site, it has to go out. It has to go out. So we require high coordination number. So these are the two conditions for Schottky defect to take place. Conditions for Frenkel defect is cation is going into the interstitial space. Now here I just want to explain something. Okay, just see, if I take a cation, okay, suppose I have an atom. When the atom lose electrons, it becomes a cation, that you have learnt. And when the atom gains electron, it becomes an anion. And because of gain of electrons, when the electrons are gained, what happens is size increase, that you have learnt in PUC first year periodic table. And when the electrons are lost, the size decrease. So obviously you see cations, they are having small size than anions. So small size can easily fit into interstitial space. So here you see what is required. The large size difference in the cation and anion, and usually the size of the cation should be very, very, very small compared to the size of anions, so that small size cation can easily fit into this small interstitial space. This is the first requirement. Second requirement is the coordination number should be low. Low coordination number. Why? Because if the coordination number is low, the neighbors around any particle will be less. And if neighbors are less, obviously the interstitial space should grow. Because if more crowdness is there, then the gap between the particle is less, interstitial space is small. If the less particles are there around it, then the gap between the particle is more. The gap between the particle is more. Therefore, the particle cation can easily meet that interstitial space and go inside it. So that is a requirement. So these are the conditions for Frenkel defect and Schottky's defect. Examples for Schottky defect are on the screen. All these are alkali metals: chloride, sodium chloride, potassium bromide, cesium chloride. Silver bromide is also an example of a Schottky defect. Silver chloride, silver bromide, silver iodide, zinc sulfide, they are the examples of Frenkel defect. Point to be noted, silver bromide is example for both. So silver bromide is the one which shows both effects, both Schottky defect and Frenkel defect. It could be a 1 mark question in the examination. Okay. Alkali metals, in the earlier example slide I have shown, they will show Schottky defect, but they don't show Frenkel defect. Why? The reason for that is again in the periodic table. You have learned that periodic table. Let me just recall a few things in the periodic table. let me, okay, in the periodic table, okay, I am just drawing a periodic table here. I'm not interested in drawing the entire periodic table. The periodic table goes like this. We have a periodic table like this, and this is the periodic table. Okay, now this periodic table, if you just take, and then you see, as I move from left to right, as I move from left to right, you see size decrease, and as I move from top to bottom, size increase. So here in this area we have alkali metals. So alkali metals in that row are having largest size. They are having the largest size. So here if you take these alkali metal halides, then alkali metal halides have larger size Na plus, K plus and cesium ions. Size of the cation is large, and since the size of the cation is large, it is very difficult for a large sized cation to occupy this small interstitial space. See, for this small interstitial space to get occupied by cations, you require small cations. But alkali metals are large cations, therefore they cannot occupy this small interstitial space, and that is the reason why they cannot show Frenkel defect. Next, cesium chloride, silver chloride, silver iodide, these are the examples where they show Frenkel defect. Why? Again, Ag plus ion for chloride, bromide, iodide, and zinc plus 2 ion for sulfide. Size of the Ag plus or Zn plus 2 ion is small, so that small sized Ag plus ion can easily fit into this interstitial space, and that's why they show Frenkel defect. In case of Ag's Br, two options are there. Ag plus can fit into the interstitial space, and therefore it can show Frenkel defect. At the same time, Ag plus can have a choice to go completely out of the crystal, and it can show Schottky defect. Okay, next, the last part. There is one statement in the government text. At room temperature in sodium chloride, if you want to find out the Schottky defect, one Schottky defect is present for every 10 to the power 16 ions. For every 10 to the power 16 ions, one Schottky defect is there. Let's see. One Schottky defect means what? One cation and anion pair is missing from the lattice point. Okay, let's see. Literature value says this. At room temperature, if you take 1 centimeter cube of sodium chloride solid, and if you just do X-ray study of that, then you see that X-ray study reveals us that 1 centimeter cube of sodium chloride has got 10 to the power 22 ions, and it will have 10 to the power 6 Schottky pairs. That means equal number of cations and ions should miss, means 10 to the power 6 cations are missing, and 10 to the power 3 cations and 10 to the power 3 anions are missing from the lattice side. So that many empty spaces are there. So with this I can prove the statement. Just see. So 10 to the power 22 ions corresponds to 10 to the power 6 Schottky pairs. So 10 to the power 6 Schottky pairs means 10 to the power 22 ions. 10 to the power 22 ions. 10 to the power 22 ions means it is actually 10 to the power 11 Na plus ions and 10 to the power 11 Cl minus ions. Okay, so one Schottky pair means what? Cross multiply. 10 to the power 6 corresponds to 10 to the power 22 ions. Therefore, one Schottky pair corresponds to how much? Cross multiply, you get 10 to the power 16 ions. That means one Schottky pair is present for 10 to the power 16 ions. Now when I say 10 to the power 16 ions, 16 is what? 16 can be split as 8 plus 8. So it is one Schottky pair is for 10 to the power 8 Na plus ions and 10 to the power 8 Cl minus ions. That's it. That is about the Schottky defect calculation. Practical proof regarding Schottky defect. They have actually found out how many Schottky defects are there. Like that, a Frankel defect is also found out, but it is not there in the government text, therefore I am not explaining it. Okay. Schottky pair means, I hope you have understood. Schottky pair means one cation vacancy, one anion vacancy. Equal number of cation and anion should miss from the lattice point. So Schottky pair means cation vacancy, anion vacancy together makes one Schottky pair. So such one Schottky pair is there in sodium chloride for every 10 to the power 8 Na plus ions, for every 10 to the power 8 Cl minus ions, or for every 10 to the power 16 NaCl molecules. Right. This is regarding Schottky defect, and this completes all stoichiometric defects. The brief explanation regarding the Schottky defect, Frankel defect, vacancy defect, interstitial defect is there on your screen, and this completes my today's session. Thank you. I'll stop here.